I'm Craig Beaumont-Flynn. Welcome to Beyond the Design. Today we're joined by Sarah Solis, the visionary founder and principal designer of Sarah Solis Design Studio, known for her refined approach to livable luxury and her belief in the subtle art of restraint. Sarah creates spaces and objects that are as elegant as they are enduring. From her early days on construction sites to launching her own furniture line, Gallery Solis, Sarah's journey is one of creativity, craftsmanship, and storytelling. Let's dive right in. Sarah, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I'm thrilled and honored.
Well, great. Well, we're thrilled and honored to have you on our show. Well, your introduction to design is truly unique, starting actually with construction sites during your childhood and evolving into a passion for interior and product design. Can you share those early experiences and how they shaped your creative vision?
Oh, those site visits with my dad were truly formative. I had that child's peekaboo view of what it was like to translate ideas from paper to reality. And I got that
bug.
I had the opportunity to be a very quiet listener in problem-solving conversations and understanding all of the challenges that incur on job sites and what it takes to work as a team and what it takes to solve all of these little things that come up. And I was so intrigued by the process and fascinated by how it all comes together.
Right. My father was in construction too, so I completely understand your background and what brought you to design. Let's talk a little bit about design philosophy and an approach. You emphasize the subtle art of restraint and designing with purpose. How do you balance clarity and elegance while ensuring that spaces may remain livable and inviting?
That's a really good question because it's one of the biggest challenges. You really need to consider your client's functions and what their particular requests are, whether it be materiality or, I've had clients that don't like fringe on rugs or love more soft materials and the requests of what speaks to them and their experience. Because it's also very experiential, right? Everything you touch and live with, and there's a psychology to that as well. So I think it's all about balance. It really comes down to balancing all of the different components that will go into making it a successful space, and taking that into consideration, leaning into the more singular, bold moments, as I call them, finding what those are, finding what that moment is and giving it purpose and letting it, and then I say, I let it breathe. So I then can evaluate which other components I want to layer in and what I need to subtract.
Right.
So first and foremost, it's most important to consider what your client's needs are, their functions, and what really works for them, and figure out how to incorporate them into a beautiful vision.
Sure. Well, storytelling seems to be a significant role in your work. How do you interpret and reflect a client's lifestyle and significant individual personality into a space while staying true to your distinctive aesthetic that you want to create for them in that experiential environment?
Well, you have to really get to know your client. You have to really understand, what their story is or what the magic is of the space so that you can bring some story to it. And And then when you get to know your client or who's going to be in the space, you can create those magic moments. But more importantly, understanding things that they connect with and, create inspiration and beautiful moments. So if you're working with someone that I guess honestly, it's across the board though, because it doesn't matter the client so much as just everyone has story, right? And it's just capitalizing on these moments that can inspire and then pulling the thread throughout the space.
True. Now, is there a Sarah Solis stamp or a component that you try to incorporate your own signature into each of your projects, or is that determined by the client and the aesthetic look and feel that you're trying to achieve for them?
I believe my aesthetic is really achieved through materiality because I use so many natural materials. I mean, just from a personal philosophy, I don't use synthetic materials. And it's really important to use materials that are of the earth and natural from a sustainability perspective, but also from experiential, because it is a much more connected and emotional trigger to touch and feel and experience these materials. They are also much more cleanable. I believe them to be. It's simple. And I also believe that it connects you to the real world. And I think that through that, that creates inspiration. And through that, it is much more meaningful to me. And I think that, using organic materials wherever you can it has more patina, which captures its own story throughout time, which is why I absolutely love to use reclaimed wood in all of my projects. You'll see that in beams, you'll see that in antiques. And I think wood tells the story of time. I also think it captures an energy, which is unparalleled. True. In products. I also think stone can do that as well, natural stone materials. And I think that I like materials that age with grace. And I'm not afraid of that aging process and that patina, because through it, it creates more story. I love a metal that will age and change and do its thing. I love a plaster product that is hand touched. It can only be applied with like a hand's touch and craftsmanship. And you can manipulate the finish, giving it more texture or less texture. And again, with that, there's storytelling that happens there as well. I love hand painted muralists that can come in and capture a whimsy that is unique. And I tend more towards muralists than I do to wallpapers, because there's a bit more connection and storytelling in that. And again, it's this handcrafted, hand-touched experience that creates moments of inspiration and connection, which also build upon the story of your home and your space.
What inspires you and motivates you?
Well, my family, mostly, truthfully, honestly. Sometimes it's just the sparkle in my daughter's eye when I dropped her off to school this morning. Or my son has gotten really into photography, which is exciting because my husband's also a photographer. And he's been taking photos and riding his bike around and taking photos. And he shows me photos, and seeing the world through their lens is pretty incredible and connected. They definitely are creative kids. So my husband's also very inspiring. We have a lot of conversation through photos and things that we love that we share together. And I find that very inspiring. The natural world, nature. I love what happens with light in trees and the way light is filtered through different types of leaves. And I know this is getting a bit into it, but I mean, I love the way, an olive tree filters light through its silvery green leaves, and it inspires different color combinations for me. I think I get a lot of my color inspiration from nature. I think everything. I love browns. I love creams. I love greens. I love all of the colorful world that dances in nature. And light and the sun and the clouds, and how just nature is an incredible resource for inspiration for me. And then like traveling, I think I truly believe that the artist needs to do very little to be inspired. But what that means is you have to stop. You have to do nothing and just observe.
And absorb.
And I get that when I travel or when we're in nature. I think that is really the only way I get that, because I love my work and I love my team and I love working. So if I'm in it, like I'm in it. But when I travel, I really allow myself to be in the moment, and it fills the well entirely. I can be, when I'm traveling, I can be inspired by the patina of a tabletop at some rustic restaurant we've just popped into on the outskirts of Florence, and I'm completely obsessing over the tabletop and like the edge detail that's probably been there forever.
It's a true creative. Usually a lot of people in our industry, they dissect everything in every instance or every environment they go to, be it a hotel or a restaurant, anywhere. It's like, look at that, look at that, look at that,
Or I would have done it this way.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't say I don't dissect. I don't dissect my environments when I'm in hotels, but I also choose them very wisely. And my family is very accepting of my process. They're like, oh, I don't think mom picked this hotel. But I think that it's also about allowing yourself to be present in those moments and giving yourself that space to breathe when you stop in at the bistro or the gelato place, or when you're just driving throughout any type of countryside throughout the world, or on the train. We took this train from Tokyo to Kyoto, and I was so inspired by some of the homes along the countryside and just the tonality and the age and patina of the wood siding that I saw throughout. It created this new palette of stains for furniture that I love. I mean, it's amazing how that can happen, and these little messages that you receive and how you decide to store and then use them in design. I feel really fortunate that I've had the experiences to capture those moments and use them in a way that creates a little bit more beauty in my life and hopefully others.
Well, as you mentioned, natural materials and textures seem to be a cornerstone of your design philosophy. What is it about these elements that resonate with you, and how do they influence the longevity of your designs?
Well, they're real. They're very real. tangible, touchable. We live in this world that has become so confusing about what is real and what isn't. And I think it's grounding. It's real and it's grounding, and it's forever, right? So
Right.
these natural materials, or let's say I'm using reclaimed wood. This is something from history that we're repurposing, and it continues to live.
True. Yeah. It has a life. It doesn't have a life expectancy. It continues
Exactly.
and telling. Yeah.
Yeah. It just keeps going.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just for that alone, just keep going. Hey, I'll look at that and keep going.
Right. Well, collaboration is key in working with expert craftsmanship and artisans. Can you tell us a little bit about partnerships or projects where collaboration was brought into the project with your vision in a way that exceeded your expectations?
Oh, yes. I have had the good fortune of working with some incredible craftspeople. I have a great relationship with, Salvage Europe. Mm-hmm. And Evan from Salvage Europe is an incredible resource for reclaimed materials. He is so much fun to collaborate. He can basically find you like any type of European element that you can imagine, and has brought the most beautiful beams to our Park City project, which we are nearing the end of construction. But that was an especially fun collaboration in sourcing these beautiful hand-hewn wood beams in a place where we really wanted to avoid it becoming mountain chic. Mm-hmm. And we wanted it to truly feel like it had been there forever. These beautiful European beams and hand-touched plaster walls. And it was, that I would say was an especially beautiful collaboration to execute a vision without it going mountain chic. I think that has been really fun. I love collaborating with James Mobley, who is a muralist and an exceptional muralist. We did a beautiful mural in my own bedroom, which was a bit different than what I had seen of his work before, because we did more of a monochromatic landscape scene, which really speaks to the calm of the environments that I prefer to create. But it was done in his way. So I think us coming together in this specific environment where I tend less is more, but it gave this beautiful texture and story and whimsy to our bedroom, which I think with just the plaster walls, we wouldn't have captured. And now it has this layer of romance with story that is just exceptional. And I don't think we would have achieved it independently had we not collaborated on that. And it is the scene of the Malibu hills behind us and around us. So it feels almost like when we're outside and you kind of squint your eyes, so you kind of blur the vision.
Yeah.
And it has that type of emotion to it, which is really unique for both of our work.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Well, too bad you can't just pick up your camera.
Right.
What are some of the projects you're currently working on? Tell us a little bit about those.
We have some pretty fun projects that we're working on right now. One is a Malibu project, and I can't really speak to the client right now. It is a really beautiful mid-century ranch home, original to Malibu, mid-50s build. And it has this beautiful lookout to the ocean with a pretty expansive view. But the property is really magical. And we are looking to lean into what is there already and just make it pop. And I think it's going to be a really cool one. I haven't worked on a mid-century in a while, so it's fun to bring all of the experience that I've had over the last few years since my last mid-century and give it that Sarah Solis vision. Let's see, what else are we working on right now? We have, I was just talking about the Park City project. This is a very wabi Japanese inspired mountain lodge in the town of Park City, nestled on the hillside. Very cool Shisugi-ban siding, big expansive windows, but inside it feels incredibly intimate and warm. And we did these, beautiful reclaimed beams from Europe, Belgian bluestone counters in the kitchen, plaster walls, really warm, deep, dark reclaimed woods from wood floors from Belgium as well. So the materiality is something I'm very proud of. It has been a challenge to do a lot in Park City. I think mountain projects are always a bit challenging, but right. I don't know. I guess they all have their challenges, right?
True. Do you like to be challenged?
I love to be challenged. Yeah? Yes. I thrive in challenge, and that's when I feel like I put my hat on best, and I'm like, I got this. We got this.
Well, Gallery Solis is a beautiful evolution in your design journey. What inspired you to launch this line, and how does it reflect your philosophy of livable luxury?
Well, I have to say, I've been working on this line probably since I was 10 years old. I'm not even kidding. I have journals and notebooks to prove it. I've been sketching and manifesting a furniture collection since I was a young child. I was the only girl in wood shop in middle school trying to build a chair. The chair obsession runs deep. And it's a pinch me moment, because I really had a hard time letting it come to market, because I'm constantly looking for ways to improve everything. And with this 11-piece collection, I believe we have perfected these pieces, from comfort, materiality, how they're built, the materials that they are built with, and how the joinery, like every aspect of it. It is as beautiful in its most raw form as it is with its finish, with all of its finishes on it. So from the inside out, I would say I'm very proud. But I'm always like, what if there was something else I could do to it?
Right.
And it really prevented me from just letting it live in the world. We had the beauty of selling to clients and them loving it and experiencing it, and with their feedback, like sometimes we'd make little tweaks to it, and we've been doing that for the last 7 years. So when I started talking to David from the Future Perfect about it, he was like, Sarah, this needs to be out. It's time. This is amazing. I love it.
Set it free.
Yeah, set it free. And I realized, okay, I really need to let this to get out in the world. So it's here.
Now, is it going to be through the wholesale market only for designers, or are you going to do retail?
So this is retail to the public. Our showroom is the Future Perfect, but we also have our own gallery space here in Los Angeles. So we can sell direct, but we also sell through the Future Perfect.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So the Heritage Collection feels like an intimate blend of timelessness and modernity. What was your vision behind the inaugural line, and how do you see it fitting into the spaces you design?
Well, it was hard to edit down to 11 pieces because I'm already prepared with some additions.
They're all your babies.
They're all my babies. But these pieces were the ones that I would say my clients most loved and lived with and experienced. And so I got a lot of feedback off of them already. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's a very harmonious balance of something that feels old, but also new and fresh and incredibly comfortable. And that is, many of the pillars of our philosophy as furniture designers, whether ultimately we just wanted to create a line that is tomorrow's antiques. And I think that we've achieved that. I think we've done that with what we've built and released.
So is there a plan to continue expanding the brand and going to other aspects of product lines like lighting and rugs and
yes,
so on and so forth? Yeah.
Yes. 100%. We should be releasing, forgive me, we should be releasing our furniture line by spring of 25. And then we have some additional pieces, which includes bedroom furniture that will be released in 2025 as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So that's our goal, is to continue to expand the line and in a really thoughtful way, so that we're not trying to saturate the product. We want it to have room to breathe and to be special. And also really, really maintain the integrity of our pieces and the business in general. And, that's really the way I think to do it, is to thoughtfully edit and show restraint, even when you've got a bunch of great ideas. It doesn't mean you got to put it all out there. You just put the best ones forward.
As you mentioned, you've been pondering this since you were 10 years old. So 10 years ago, 15 years ago?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, totally.
Is there one in particular piece that really resonates your heart and soul, that is like your baby, that is like your firstborn?
The crown chair.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The crown chair is very near and dear. And I would say I've had visions of and iterations of it throughout my life. Yeah.
And where do you want to see it?
I just want to see it loved in homes and spaces everywhere, where it's right. I think it would be incredible for it to connect with people that it will inspire, and whether it be in the arts or music or business, I think it's an inspiring piece that can manifest some good stuff.
I look forward to seeing it this coming spring. Are you going to be showcasing it anywhere particular for the launch, or just
so we have launched this chair. So this chair is on display at the Future Perfect in Los Angeles as well as New York.
Fantastic. Well, your spaces are known for their elegant, restrained qualities. What advice would you give aspiring designers on achieving a similar balance of refinement and functionality?
Choose your singular bold moment. Find the moment that you really want to pop, and then layer the elements around it with balance. And I don't want to say, like, I don't really want to frame it completely as minimalist, because it isn't necessarily. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that everything has to be like a tonal beige. It just means that it's a careful balance. So pick your stars. Pick your stars that you really want to shine brightly, and then layer in elements that don't compete with it.
In an era of fast design, especially with AI coming into the field potentially in creativity, you champion craftsmanship and longevity. How do you communicate this value to clients who want to be tempted by fleeting trends or one-offs or cookie cutter design?
You know, I think that those that are tempted in that way are typically not a good client fit for me, particularly, because it's so important to connect on those meaningful levels with your clientele. And it's okay if you don't. And there are designers that have fun with that and understand how to execute it for them in a way that feels good for them.
Right.
I don't see any wrong in it. This is just what works for me and how I feel fulfilled. And I think that it's really important to do work that you're proud of, and it's okay to say no.
True. What else would you tell someone that wants to get into our industry? What is the best key items to learn and really concentrate before you go head start in opening your own studio?
Technical skills. I think there, again, a lot is being revealed in the modern world of where we have put a lot of value on popularity and have, I don't want to speak negatively about it, because it's not negative. It's just what it is. But there's a lot of hype around popularity rather than education and experience. And you can make great mood boards and you can have great ideas, but if you don't have the technical background to have the conversations with the collaborators and to understand everything involved, then you really can't execute the visions. So understand CAD, understand a plumbing matrix, understand your lighting design, layouts, how that affects the experience, how technically it works into the design, and where you can fit lighting with the architect and the other collaborators. Understand mood, there's so much technical to it that is so much bigger than having great taste.
True.
Yeah. Understand that, because you will become so much more important and meaningful to the project and the experience for yourself, your firm, your clients. And I think that that's something that I admire.
And I think also you have to have an understanding of human nature and be a little bit of a therapist sometimes for residential clients.
Yes. I said this just yesterday. I was like, why didn't I get a psych degree?
Yeah, exactly.
Why do I have all these art degrees?
Well, this is a 3-part question. What's next for Sarah? What's next for Sarah Solis Design Studio? And what's next for Gallery Solis?
Okay. What's next for, what should we tackle first?
How about Gallery Solis, since it's your baby?
Okay. What's next for Gallery Solis is we plan to continue to grow and share more of what we what we do. And like I said, I think we are set to release our lighting in spring of 25. And we'll be releasing some more furnishing elements, including bedroom, and a few fun pieces like counter stools, which are always hard to find. And just continue to grow. And I think at a certain point, I would love the opportunity for Gallery Solis to collaborate with a more accessible market, because this is a luxury brand, and it is how we achieve our sustainability standards and quality of manufacturing. But if there's a way or a partner that we could achieve a good portion of our brand philosophy, and create a more accessible product that the world can incorporate into their spaces, that would be a goal. That's a goal. I think for Sarah Solis Design Studio, we would love to continue to grow and expand our client reach. It has been an incredible journey to work on projects outside of California, and there are some opportunities even in Europe that we are considering, and at least discussing what that would look like and how that would work. I think that is a really natural progression for the way we work and our philosophy and what we love. So that would be rather incredible. And I'm really curious and interested in the hospitality market and how our philosophy and aesthetic can touch that world. And I think it would be pretty exciting, especially with my love of travel and creating emotion and experiential space. It seems very natural to be a part of that world. And then for myself, I just want to keep it all going. I want to keep it all going and continue to meet clients that I connect with and adore. Yesterday, I was at a client's house that it's done, but there's always some fun things that she wants to add to it. And I stepped away from that meeting and was just overwhelmed with an appreciation for that relationship that I had built with her, that I have built with her and her family. And I was like, this is why I do what I do. Like, for these connections and for these results and all of the hard ones, this is why I do this. So for those moments, continue to grow those moments.
Looking back at your career, is there a project or a moment that stands out as a particularly rewarding or pivotal?
Gosh, I feel like they have all been rewarding and pivotal, because even the ones that have been hard,
right,
have been really hard, or where I felt like I have failed, I have grown so much from and learned so much that I can't say that they weren't really important and pivotal. They've taught me when to say yes and when to say no, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. And if I could teach or share anything with other designers out there, that would be a very strong point and moment and truth.
Very true to that. I think too many people just keep saying yes because they feel of the fact of saying no, nothing will come back. But you know what? It will.
It will.
Yeah.
It absolutely will.
If you could design any space anywhere in the world, real or imagine, what would it be and why?
I could design any space. Well, I've been obsessively dreaming about a space in northern Italy, countryside. And
not bad.
And I really love I'm sorry, the dogs are
No
barking.
worries. Hey.
Is that going to be problematic?
No, it's fine. We've had worse.
Okay. Real life happening.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to my dream space to create. Yes, really dreaming, manifesting a space in Northern Europe to create. I think I'm just so inspired by the bones of the structures there. And I want to work more with original patina and how to complement and juxtapose like contemporary elements within them.
If you could design any space anywhere in the world, real or imagined, what would it be and why?
I've really been obsessively dreaming over a space in northern Italy, probably in the Umbria region, just outside of Florence, rolling hills, but very green, very lush. Little different climate than Tuscany, right?
Right.
I just think that the bones of the homes and existing structures there are so inspiring. And I would love to work with that existing patina and even the limitations and challenges of something like that. So that would be a for certain dream space. I mean, I'm really inspired by all of the movie moments of spaces, like even, dating back or thinking back to the original Godfather and the estate that he goes to in northern Italy.
Right.
And really creating that type of magic in a space that, maybe it becomes more of a destination, like a hospitality type destination or a writing retreat type space, but an incredible source of inspiration.
Well, you talked about lighting previously, and just the lighting in that part of the world, and the sunsets and the movement of light, and the natural materials, which is part of your philosophy, is very evident in that part of the world.
Yes.
Is there anyone in particular you'd want to design for, past or present?
Past or present? I mean, I would have loved to have collaborated with Lee Radswell.
Oh, good one. Wow.
That would have been pretty epic.
Yeah.
Pretty epic.
Budget.
Yes. I think there are probably more people I can think of that I would have been excited to collaborate with in the past, but I think that's only because it's easier to say, but I think there are so many inspired, amazing people that there are still to collaborate with today as well. I perhaps just haven't found them all yet.
Is there something you want to do as a creative that you haven't done yet, that you want to, it's on your list, but given that you're balancing quite a bit with everything that you still want to achieve?
The first thing that comes to mind is a hospitality space. That's the first thing. But other than that, I would say it's a little bit more far-reaching collaborations with elements of the home that I haven't really had the opportunity to touch yet. So I'm very inspired by crystal, like baccarat and old world treasures that we used to love a bit more. Sterling and silver and shiny bits. And I love entertaining and setting the table and setting your spaces.
Right.
And I want to get more into sharing that. And what that could look like in working with brands that kind of like really bring back that old world entertaining that has kind of lost a little bit of its season.
Because everything is now instantaneously, and instead of thought of about the presentation and the process and the ceremony of eating and
the ceremony.
Yeah.
I think it's really fun, and I think it's just, I love the way we evolve. And I think that I love the way things go kind of back and forth, and we lean into something and then we pull it back, and then we lean into something, we pull it back. I think this is an opportunity right now to lean a bit more into the process of creating those meaningful gatherings and opportunities to be with people. And I think that the way that I know how to do that is enjoying the process of creating those moments. So that's designing those spaces, designing those moments and those experiences, because how you are designing your table space or the elements throughout your home that inspire conversation, or, more than anything, creating memories. Right?
Yeah.
Because that's what we're doing in those opportunities. And when we have those memories to live with, but also pull from when we are at times needing that, I think that's meaningful. And I think we need a little bit more of that.
It's capturing that moment in your memory, and it has impact. And like you said before, experiential environments, and that is part of that philosophy of creating those experiential environments in every essence.
Yes.
Well, Sarah, is there anything else you'd like to add and share with our listeners?
Don't think so.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us today on Beyond the Design. And Sarah, your approach to design, rooted in storytelling, craftsmanship, and passion for livable luxury, is truly inspiring. To learn more about Sarah Solis Design Studio and Gallery Solis, visit sarahsolis.com or follow her journey on social media. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with fellow design enthusiasts. I'm your host, Craig Beaumont Flynn, and this has been another journey of Beyond the Design. Until next time, keep creating with purpose. Thanks for tuning in to Beyond the Design. Subscribe for more inspiring conversations to our YouTube channel. Follow us on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes content. See you next time.
Hi, you're listening to a Pod for Good Media Network podcast. We are a network that provides podcasting production services and a supportive community in which podcasters can thrive. If you're a podcaster local in the Tulsa area, we would love to have your show on the network. If you are interested in starting one, we would love to help you get started. Find us online at podforgoodmedia.com and fill out our Pod With Us form. Happy podcasting.